im se svima, i malima i velikima, i bogatima i siromašnima, i slobodnjacima i robovima, dade žig na njihovu desnu ruku ili na čela njihova, te da nitko ne može ništa kupiti ili prodati, osim onoga ko ima žig ili ime zvijeri ili broj imena njezina.
Pozdrav, dragi narode. Dobrodošli u još jednu epizodu Slobodni. Tko upravlja svijetom je današnja tema. Moj današnji gost je netko tko već dugo istražuje kako svijet funkcionira i ko u stvarnosti povlači glavne konce. Naš je dojam da su to oni koje smo mi izabrali na političkim izborima. Međutim, to je samo dojam. U stvarnosti, poluge moći imaju ljudi koji upravljaju procesima, a političari su najčešće, ako ne isključivo, njihove lutke na koncu. Današnja tema će biti zbog toga vrlo zanimljiva jer imamo i jedan primjer upravo jednog političkog događaja koji govori o tome, ali više idemo sa mojim gostom. Moj današnji gost je gospodin David Sorensen. Hello David, welcome to our show in Croatia.
Hi Andrea, glad to be here.
Can you say 3 words about your background?
Yeah, well, let me first say that I'm so excited to see that there is a beautiful movement of awakening and truth happening in the incredibly beautiful nation of Croatia. I mean, you showed me the photos the other day and I was amazed what a beautiful country that is. And it deserves to flourish, it deserves to be set free from all forms of corruption. The people deserve to thrive. You know, I think there's a beautiful future for Croatia, and that's why you invited me for the show. So who am I? My name is David Sorensen. I am an investigative journalist. I also call myself a media missionary. I have been working with radio, television, newspapers. I've written 8 books in the past years. And in 2020, I started doing investigations in depth into what was really happening with the COVID pandemic, because I noticed that the media was simultaneously used all around the world to only say a certain narrative which was demonstrably false. They were literally censoring millions of doctors. They were oppressing every working treatment. They were imposing experimental injections that were not tested, despite the lies that they told about them. I noticed that the true scientists were being shut down, even arrested, fired. And the actual medical doctors who care for their people, they were all being silenced, and a story was being pushed upon the people that is completely and utterly false. So I, as a journalist, as a media expert, I wanted to know what is going on here. And I discovered that there are thousands, actually tens of thousands of world leading experts from every field of science, lawyers, people from healthcare, the vaccine industry, anything imaginable, that were all speaking out. Although they were being censored, they were all standing up around the world to say to humanity, dear people, what is going on in this so-called pandemic is not the truth. Something else is happening. And from there, my investigation went deeper and I started looking, who are the people who are doing this? How is it possible that they can pull off something so nefarious on such a worldwide scale? And actually, millions of people around the world started investigating, started asking questions, and we discovered what is really happening in the world. Who is causing all these wars? Why is almost everybody poor and is only 0.00001% astronomically wealthy? Why does everybody struggle to survive? Why is almost nobody able to fulfill their dreams, while you have a very tiny minority who has all the power, all the resources, they can do anything they want? And so we found what is really happening in our world behind the scenes, and we also found a solution for this.
Well, maybe I can ask you a very simple question. Who is really running the world?
Yeah, so that is exactly what we found. And it is quite difficult for people to understand at first, because we have to understand there has always been, and this is important for the people, they need to get this in their mind. If you want a better world, you need to have the honesty, the willingness, and the courage to see what's really going on. If we are going to live with our heads under the sand, with our eyes closed, our ears closed, because the reality is too confronting, then we will stay in our same situation. But we are not alone. Everyone who says, I'm going to listen to the truth, I'm going to open my eyes, I'm going to start understanding, you will be part of the greatest movement in all of human history, where hundreds of millions of people, soon it will be billions, in every single nation around the world, is literally waking up and understanding, why is there so much wickedness and evil in this world? Why is everybody suffering? Why are so many people sick? Why is healthcare not working? Why is the food that we eat so poisoned? Why are they spraying toxic chemicals in our skies? Why are the oceans so poisoned? Everything. Why is the government so corrupt? It is because all throughout history there has always been people with a lust for world domination. This is just plain old history. Everybody who reads history books can see that. But for some weird, absolutely ridiculous reason, in our time, many people say, oh, there is no agenda for world domination. I'm like, haven't you ever read one single page of world history? Human history is a sequence of nothing but world empires. The Roman Empire, the Greek Empire, the Chinese Empire, the Spanish Empire, the British Empire, you name it. They all try to rule the whole world. But now we are entering a phase in human history where the current entities who have been trying to impose world domination are being exposed. And I believe that we see a new era emerge. So who are the people in our time? 2000 years ago you had the Romans. After that you had the Spanish Empire. But who are they today? Today it is basically a continuation of the British world empire. In the 18th century, the British, they conquered vast areas of the world. They literally own Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, 15 other countries, Africa, India. They have their hand of control through corruption, through blackmail, through bribery, all kinds of occult operations. They have their hand of control in almost every world. The British elites, they operate from what is called sovereign city-state. A sovereign city is a small area that is not submitted to the laws and the jurisdiction of the land. Vatican City-State, World Economic Forum, Gavi, Bank for International Settlements, Washington DC, and then you have the city of London. All these are small. The city of London is 1 square mile in the heart of London. That is the financial headquarters of the entire world. Headquarters for worldwide Satanism is the headquarters for worldwide child trafficking operations. It's the headquarters of Freemasonry, and so on and so on. The city of London is surrounded by 14 statues of a dragon, a coat of arms, a crest with the creed, Lord, and their Lord depicted on the coat of arms, 2 dragons. They are surrounded by dragons. They worship the dragon. The dragon. Scriptures, the dragon or the serpent of all is a spiritual dimension, a spiritual power that it is just, in simple words, the power of evil, the power of perversion and wickedness. And these people from the city of London, they are the enemies in our time who control governments, control health. They have been establishing the World Health Organization, Economic Forum, the World Bank, the Bank for International Settlements, and so on. United Nations, European Union. All these organizations work together in unity for the agenda of world domination. And that goal is to eliminate individual nations and gather the whole world in a world state ruled by an unelected that is appointed.
David, if somebody calls me conspiracy theorist now and say that everything what you said is just theory and conspiracy, can you offer them any proof of what you're talking?
Yes, that is a very good question and a very important question. Personally, I have never been interested, and I am not interested in weird theories. I am somebody with his feet on the ground and with a clear mind. My father raised me with an understanding of the need to be intelligent. I read hundreds of books as a child. I was also fascinated by history. I lived in the ancient city of Bruges, a very historic city with history all around us. I was often in those museums. I loved to know about our world. I loved to know about history, about everything that's going on. I have never been interested in people with crazy, wild stories. But at some point, you are forced to start looking beyond the veil. Because I am a media expert, I have a master's degree in visual media communication. I was granted the exceptional, very rare permanent visa into America, which is called ordinary ability. This is only given to Nobel Prize winners, Pulitzer Prize winners. It is given to people who can prove that they are leaders worldwide in their field of expertise. It is hardly ever granted to anyone. I was the representative of the Royal Academy of Arts in Belgium to the King of Belgium. I have worked with world leaders. I am right now working with several presidential candidates. So I'm not a fool. I'm not somebody who is involved in nonsense. I must say, as a media expert, that from the very start, I have learned that media is not used to inform people. Media is used to control people. Let me give you a simple example. In America, there is a movement of thousands of scientists in the field of natural sciences. They have made a statement to the world that the theory of Darwinian evolution is not scientifically proven. They have all the studies, all the evidence for this. They've made a historic declaration to humanity that there is no evidence, no proof for the theory of evolution. This is incredibly epic. I sent that to the editor-in-chief of the largest newspaper in Belgium, where I'm from. This man replied to me very angry and told me never to send him anything like that again. That is just a very simple example of how they're not interested in accurately informing the people about important world events. They are pushing a certain narrative. The media, the news media, is owned by a very small group of people. We have a film on our website called Monopoly. This film documents on screen all the financial data that show that the news media around the world in every nation is owned and controlled by the very same people. The corporation Vanguard and BlackRock, they own the majority of every in the whole world. So they can determine what the direction is of all these industries. George Soros is a multi-billionaire from Hungary who has been rigging elections around the world. He is known to be a nation destroyer. He pays for national protests. He bribes politicians. He buys the news. And it is very well known that he recently purchased hundreds of television and radio stations in South America to control the narrative. Bill Gates is the same. He buys the news. He gives so-called grants or donations to organizations that work in the field of healthcare or media or education. They buy their power into those organizations so that they can control what the people hear, what the people are being taught. Now, the term conspiracy theorist or conspiracy theory was by the CIA in the 1960s. They had murdered John F. Kennedy. That is now being exposed on an international scale in America by President Donald Trump and by Robert F. Kennedy Jr. They are now revealing the hidden files that JFK was assassinated by the CIA, Israeli Mossad, because he wanted to eliminate the controlling influence of Israel over America. He did not want America to be a sub-state of Israel. So they killed him. People saw that this was very suspicious. So what did the CIA do? They invented for the first time the label conspiracy theory. Started printing in all the newspapers and all the magazines and saying on all the television platforms, this is just a conspiracy theory. People are not right in their mind. Don't them. It's just foolish. And they have been using this psychological mind control methods for the past decades to shut down any actual news reporting, any independent investigation. Anyone who has a mind to think for himself, his internal discernment, who looks at facts, who is not a blind, unquestioning, dead follower of the TV, but people who have intelligence, who observe, who notice discrepancies, lies, conflicting facts, untruths. These people start thinking, they start looking deeper, and we have compiled a large amount of evidence reports on our stopworldcontrol.com. This website shows documentaries that present all the proof, that show all the documents, that reveal information with the references for people to go check it for themselves. We also have a World Freedom Directory, which consists of almost 1,000 international organizations, media organizations, medical organizations, business organizations, all science and activism organizations, all stand up against the agenda for world domination. So if a person says it's a conspiracy theory, it is only an illustration of how indeed the CIA has effectively shut down the brain, mind, the discernment of the people, where people never ask for proof when they watch television. If they watch the news, they believe anything the news says. But if actual investigators, actual scientists that are not bought, that are not paid to push narrative, but independent, honest scientists, when they come forward, they information, data, studies, show a different story, then the people say, I need more proof. Show me if this is. Why? Because we have been programmed questioningly to anything the man says and to absolutely reject everything else. Listen to anyone of the official narrative. That is how strong the mind control works in our world.
Yeah, well, you gave a really great example, and you mentioned that the major corporations who run the world are BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard. Can you give us some example how they pull the strings, how they run the world?
Yeah, one clear example is this. When the pandemic was declared by the World Health Organization, which is a private organization, not government, nobody is elected people, still the World Health Organization functions as a literal and effective world dictatorship. They dictate to every government in the whole world to impose experimental injections, to working drugs, medicines, and treatment, hide those from the people, tell them there is no cure, so that they would line up for a dangerous injection, disclose toxins. The World Health Organization was founded not by a medical doctor, but by John David Rockefeller. John David Rockefeller, he was an oil magnate. He owned amounts of oil, and what he did is he shut down all healthcare, all natural healing treatments that were in the world, and there was all weakness in the world. People were extremely healthy 100 years. Cancer, all this, 90% of the illnesses we have today were non-existent a century ago. Pictures even from the 1970s, slim, healthy, now everyone is tired, etc. The World Health Organization was founded by John D. Rockefeller. Found that they could derive medicine from petroleum. So he wanted to obtain a world in health. So he shut down all the existing natural treatments and taking over all the universities. He started in all the governments through blackmail and operations. He could create a world monopoly in healthcare. Rockefeller is one of the behind Vanguard and BlackRock. The Rothschilds are another important family. When the World Health Organization, criminal, ground up, private, non-governmental organization, the moment they declared a world health emergency, the airplane companies, all the travel corporations, they simultaneously imposed mask mandate. They imposed social distancing. And they started imposing vaccines. Why did all of them do that at the same time? I mean, there's hundreds of travel companies worldwide. All of them did thing because the majority of the shares of these companies on the stock are owned by BlackRock. So that is how they can, just like that, poof, they own the industry. So say the same thing for they own all these big hospital chains. They own all the market. They have the power at once impose tyranny on the entire world, and that is what they did.
You gave a great example. We have now one what happened just a few weeks ago in Romania. There is your friend who was running for president, Calin Gheorghescu, and we were just facing same kind of manipulation what these people who are in the power are capable to do to influence decision who will run the country, independent country. Can you tell us details about this?
Yes, this is a perfect example of how the people are being fooled, how they are lying to everyone. These world rulers, they have created a system called democracy, which creates the illusion to people that they can choose who governs their nations. What the people don't know is that these world rulers very precisely control who votes for whom. Most of all, they use the mainstream news media for this. The news media slanders, attacks, smears, falsely accuses, humiliates, mocks everyone whom they don't want to be elected. So the public sees this in the newspapers, on radio and television, and they think, ooh, that's a bad person. Ooh, that's not a good person. Let's not vote for him. Or they say, oh, that's an idiot. Oh, he's just a fool, blah, blah, blah. And then the candidate that the elites want to be elected, oh, they will praise and they will say what a wonderful person that is, and that so that everybody will say, oh, that's a great person to lead our country, let's vote for him or vote for her. That is the number one election interference that is done by these powers that be. If that is not enough, they will resort to switching votes. This happened on a massive scale in America. So in 2016, Donald Trump emerged as a presidential candidate. The whole worldwide media arsenal was deployed simultaneously in every nation to make sure that everyone all around the world would hate Donald Trump. It didn't work in America. The people, for the first time in history, they snapped out of the hypnosis, they snapped out of the mind control, and they saw in Donald Trump a man with a genuine passion to restore his nation.
So to the amazement of the corrupt governments and the financial elites who control them, Donald Trump got elected. So in 2020, they went to the second strategy. They used military defense satellites in Italy, all kinds of hackers and computer servers in China, and it was found that 15 or 20 nations around the world came together to collectively steal the election from President Trump. All the evidence for this has been revealed. And we have a report on Stop World Control that shows this. I mean, generals from the military, retired colonels, majors, captains, all came forward to confirm this. So if they can no longer mind control the people to vote for their preferred candidate, they will switch votes. But a third method is what we have observed in Romania. They apparently did not have the technology to switch all the votes. So what happened? Călin Georgescu, he is a former senior official from the United Nations. He has worked at a high level for 2 decades around the world. He has observed with his own eyes the corruption, the crimes that are happening in the UN. So he came out as a whistleblower and he exposed to the International Crimes Investigative Committee from Dr. Rainer Füllmich, he exposed the United Nations as a criminal organization which is used by the oligarchs of the World Economic Forum to establish world domination. And he also exposed how they are all involved in child abuse, in pedophilia. This is the #1 characteristic of these elites. So he was in the system, but he saw the evil, he stepped out, and now he's running for president in Romania because he wants to set his nation free from the influence of these criminals. He wants his people to breathe again. He wants his nation to become an independent country that flourishes and where not all the natural resources are stolen by foreign entities, but the natural riches are kept inside the country to make it flourish, beautiful, and turn it into a paradise, because Romania is just like Croatia. It's a paradise. It is so beautiful. Everyone should live there's this saying in Dutch, as God in France, you know, every riches, every resource, everything is there to make every person live in abundance, in happiness, healthy families, happy towns and communities. Everything is present, but the people suffer because everything is stolen from them by these foreign entities. And the governments are positioned to ensure that this keeps happening. So Călin Georgescu, he ran a campaign and he said, I'm going to set Romania free from this foreign interference. He also said, because NATO is building the largest Air Force base in Romania so that they can launch a war against Russia from within Romania. Călin is the peace president. He does not want this kind of war. So he is immensely popular by the people. They recognize in him. He is one of them. He genuinely loves the Romanian people. He loves his country. He wants his nation to be liberated, to flourish, to thrive, to be abundant, to be happy, an example for the world. So the people were voting for him massively in the primaries of the presidential election. And what happens, the powers that be, they falsely accused him of fraud. Something they always do, he doesn't do. He doesn't even have the power to commit any fraud. He's just an individual who says, I want to save this nation. He doesn't have all these resources. He doesn't even know how to use fraud. You know, he just speaks his heart. The people vote for him. You have a revolution. But they accused him of fraud. Then the Romanian highest court, the constitutional court, they cleared him of all charges. They said, no, Călin Georgescu is clear, he's innocent, we can see no fraud, there's no evidence for anything, the primaries are valid. So boom, Călin Georgescu went to the top. He was this close from becoming president of Romania. And then the third way, the most desperate way to rig elections was used. The European Union, Ursula von der Leyen, she simply told the court in Romania, the constitutional court, she just gave an order. You must cancel this election. Why? It's a democracy, right? Yes, 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 but we have to protect the democracy. I mean, they're such hypocrites. We have to protect the democracy. So we cannot have the people vote for a man that we don't want. I mean, the term democracy for them is just a smokescreen to hypnotize the people. They don't want a democracy. They have a dictatorship, but it is a dictatorship behind the scenes. So they just cancelled the election, just like that. They just destroyed the voice of the Romanian people. They broke the law. They war against the constitution. They literally committed high treason. They surrendered the nation of Romania completely to foreign entities, publicly, openly. And they said, the people of Romania have no voice here. We are going to determine who is going to be democratically elected, you know? So this is the most blatant example of desperate crime to maintain their criminal control over a nation. But there's a powerful movement happening in Romania where hundreds of thousands of people are on the streets. The people are seeing what's going on. Some people, there was, I believe, a CIA agent from America came to Romania. He interviewed Kalin. He acted as if he was on his side, and then he tried to push Kalin to war because he has the military on his side. The military supports Kalin Georgescu. I said, Kalin, please don't fall in this trap. They want you to go to war so that they can then invade with the troops of the United Nations, shut everyone down, put you in prison, and then paint you as a warmonger, as a dictator, etc. So I'm praying for Romania. I'm praying for my friend Kalin that justice will be done. We are in touch with President Trump. Preparations are being made for intervention, you know, within the rule of law. But I believe that justice will prevail. I believe that evil will be exposed and Romania will be liberated. But it's a process.
I heard that in the European Commission, they now put a legal frame for this kind of circumstances if in any European country will be elected somebody that they doesn't like, they have a legal way to stop this election process.
Yes, that is how desperate they are. That is a very good sign. It is absolutely amazing that they have to resort to this, because it shows that their mind control over the people is failing. It shows that they can no longer sufficiently brainwash the public to such a degree that they will vote for the wrong candidate. It shows that the people are waking up. People are starting to think for themselves. People are beginning to vote for a person that is not part of the cartel. So now they have to use these kinds of measures. But by doing this, they expose themselves. They just show who they truly are. And this will only wake up the people even more. And that's what I've noticed with these criminal elites the past years. They are so desperate to gain world domination that they make one fatal blunder upon the other. And the people wake up more and more.
Now there's a big changes in the United States. And some of skeptics says that Trump is just a member of this elite. He's not fighting for the people. He's just, you know, will be additional puppet who will work for world elite. What is your opinion about this?
Yeah, you know, that is something that is said by people who are either they are part of the deep state, they are agents who spread these accusations to set people up against Trump, or it are just people who are very stupid, who are just very, 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 blind. The reality is that Trump has been attacked by the deep state from the onset. They tried to impeach him all the time. He has exposed all their powers. If he was on their side, he would not destroy every single asset of the deep state. The number one power of these elites to control humanity is the mainstream news media. That is their most important weapon for world domination. Donald Trump is the one who came out with the term fake news. He exposed them as fake news. He is the one who has woken up a vast part of humanity to the fact that the news is lying to us. If he was part of them, he would never do that. That is suicide. Now he is exposing how criminal the CIA and the FBI are, and the Department of Justice and the Department of Defense and the Homeland Security, etc. All these government agencies are used by the cabal, the elites, the deep state, to control the people, to execute their criminal operations. If Trump was on their side, he would never expose them. Now, what is happening recently, the past days, is that the USAID, the Organization for Foreign Aid, is being exposed as the most criminal organization that exists in the entire world. They are the ones who have been sending not millions, not billions, but trillions of dollars from the 300 million American citizens who pay taxes every single day. All that money has been used by the USAID to fund their criminal operations worldwide, to bribe government officials around the world, to fund terrorism. I mean, every evil operation in the world is funded through USAID. And Trump is exposing that now. It is absolutely ridiculous to say that he's on their side. No, he's their worst enemy. He is exposing all their operations. He is now replacing all the evil agents in the government with righteous and, in most cases, very devoted Christian people who have a passion to restore justice in America, to bring freedom to the people, to make sure that America becomes flourishing and abundant, etc., etc. I mean, every single action taken by Trump is a fatal death blow to the elites and is deliverance for the people.
What do you think that Trump will do for these world rulers, Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street, companies from City of London?
Yeah, that is something that we don't know, because the reason that Donald Trump is so effective in his operations is because he never shows his hand. He never shows what his next step will be, and he acts as if he's their friend. For example, Israel is the headquarters of the elites. They rule the world from the City of London, from the Vatican, from all these others, but they are making Israel to be the headquarters of their one world government. Donald Trump is surrounded by people in America who have been brainwashed to support Israel. In the 19th century, these elites have hijacked the Christian church and have told everybody, if you do not bless this new military state that we call Israel, then God will curse you. So billions of Christians around the world have said, oh, I don't want God to curse me. I'm going to support this military political state that is called Israel. Because in the Bible it says that Israel is a people of God. Of course, anyone can say I'm Israel. I can say I'm Israel, you have to bless me or God's going to curse you. You know, it's not because they use the name Israel that they are the biblical Israel, which is a nation around the world of all the people who love God. But so America, the voter base, most people in government in America, they have been brainwashed to support Israel. Trump knows this, so he plays the role of being the superior Zionist. He is the most Zionist supporter of Israel of them all, okay? That way, they cannot accuse him of anti-Semitism. But what happened now recently, Israel has murdered tens of thousands of people in Gaza. I mean, more than 10,000 children were killed in Gaza. They wanted to expand their territory and build the greater Israel. Their agenda was to build smart cities in Gaza, where all the people would be totally under the reign of surveillance and tyranny and control, where their thoughts, their emotions are monitored at all times through all these surveillance technologies and so on and so on. Israel had this plan for Gaza. Well, Trump invites Netanyahu to the White House and he welcomes him as his best friend. Oh, my friend, I support Israel, yes. And suddenly, to the horror and the shock of Netanyahu, Trump says, yep, America will seize Gaza Strip. We will make it American, and we will position our troops there, and we will ensure peace in the Middle East, and we will make sure that there comes a powerful Palestinian state where all the Palestinian people can live in peace, and we'll make sure that there will be no more war in Israel. Boom! He acts as if he's their ally, but then suddenly he does something, checkmate. I'm going to be sitting on your front porch from now on, Netanyahu, and I'm going to make sure that you stop messing around, stop murdering millions of people. We're going to establish justice in the Middle East. Nobody saw this coming. Nobody. And that's how Trump works. He can say things, he can do things that even seem to advance or to help these evil entities, and then suddenly it turns out to be a fatal trap for them. So I don't know how he is going to, but one thing I can tell you, which is very exciting and very revolutionary. So Donald Trump is only the public face of a vast international network of Christian military intelligence officers who have been working for decades to save humanity from this network of Satanists. That's as simple as I can explain it. And they have been planning for decades an operation so brilliant, so vast, so all-encompassing that normal people like us, we can't even begin to understand that because we don't think that way. But so Trump, it's not Trump who saves the world. It is Jesus Christ who works in those Christians behind the scenes who pray every day. They ask the help of God, and they have asked Donald Trump to be their front man, to be their public face to save America. It's not Trump who's a messiah. No, he's just a messenger. That's what he says himself. So this network worldwide of elites, they own these British elites. They're actually Zionists, but they have seized complete ownership over Britain, and they use that. But they own Canada. They own Australia. They own all these nations. They own South Africa. Australia and Canada are no nations. They have a flag, they have a government, but all that is literally just theater. It's just puppet play. The flag doesn't mean anything. The constitution is void. The whole parliament is just a bunch of idiots who don't know what's going on. They are literally, legally on paper, they are just the private property of the City of London. That's as simple and as clear as it is. Now Trump is saying that he will make Canada part of America. Canada will become the 51st state of America. This means something indescribably powerful. It means that they have effectively defeated the entities of the City of London. They have conquered them. Otherwise, he would never be able to say, we are going to make Canada part of America. That means that he's taking that nation from the elites and adding it to America. They have done things behind the scenes that are so profound that it's literally delivering the entire world. And Trump has wished Happy New Year to Australia, and he said Great Britain is going to be liberated as well. And they're now talking about South Africa, saying all the horrors happening in South Africa where the government is taking land of farmers. They're slaughtering all the farmers. Trump said we are going to act there as well. So the fact that he's making these statements, he can only say this if they have already defeated these elites behind the scenes. And how things will play out in the coming years and decades, nobody knows. But it is clear that the creator of all life has a plan to save this world through people who have been asking for God's help for decades. And now it's happening.
You are coming from Europe like me. What will happen with Europe?
I don't know what. Well, I don't know when, I don't know how, but I do know what will happen. What will happen is the same level of deliverance will come here as well. I'm working now with Călin Georgescu to help him in any way that I can. I have engaged the help of President Trump. Elon Musk has been writing now about the situation in Romania. We have done a lot of work to get attention and help. I'm helping also Rainer Fulmich, mostly as a friend behind the scenes, to encourage him, to support him morally, spiritually, because he's imprisoned. That he's been falsely accused and he's in a high security prison, but he's running for Chancellor of Germany. I believe that there is new leadership emerging all around Europe, people who will come out of nowhere, but who have made the decision in their heart to be pure, to love their country, to serve God, and to not be part of these criminal elites. They will not be bribed, they will not be blackmailed. They stand their stand and they say, I'm going to restore my nation. There is a changing of the guard coming. There is something that will, the time for these criminal elites is coming to an end. What Trump is doing now with the tariffs in America, where he is imposing tariffs on nations, Eva Vlaardingerbroek, she's a Dutch journalist, she's a woman, she thinks that this will mean the end of the European Union. It could well be. I believe that the time for the globalists is up. Trump removed America from the World Health Organization. Italy is following, Kenya is following, Argentina is following. You see domino effect. Nations around the world are increasingly going to step out of the World Health Organization, so their agenda to impose world tyranny under the guise of pandemics will fail, because not all the nations will obey them anymore. I think that all these organizations will, in the coming decade or, I don't know, years, we will see an increase of this transformation, an increase in the shift. And I want to tell the people in Croatia to be very much aware who is genuinely fighting for your freedom, who is informing you with the truth, who is standing up for you. And if you see these people running for office, spread the news. Tell your neighbors, gather your friends and families, organize events, become active in Croatia to start supporting this person. And if that is you, Andrea, or something else or somebody else that you will support, the people of Croatia need to have an eye and an understanding. And the danger is here that the elites also provide false freedom. Politicians. They will provide a person who will talk your talk and who will say the things you like to hear, but he or she will be part of the game. You need to discern accurately who is not funded by these elites, who is genuinely speaking out for us, who is not part, ask for discernment and support the people in your country that will begin to emerge to lead the way to a better future.
Thank you, David. It was very fruitful to discuss with you and continue with your work. Very soon we'll see what will happen in Romania and, of course, in whole Europe, because this is our land. See you soon.
Thank you, Andrea. Bye-bye.
Bye. Evo, dragi narode, imali ste prilike vidjeti vrlo zanimljiv pogled od nekoga ko se duboko bavi ovom temom. Toplo preporučam da odete na stranicu Stop World Control i pogledate dokumentarce koji su tamo postavljeni, koji objašnjavaju puno elemenata onoga o čemu smo danas govorili i ono što slušate u kojoj vam govore za mnoge od tih stvari da su samo teorije zavjere. Uvjerite se sami, pogledajte, provjerite. Kao što vidite, svijet se mijenja. Samo da vam je prije nekoliko tjedana netko rekao što će izjavljivati naši dužnosnici vezano za rusko-ukrajinski rat ili što će spominjati sam predsjednik Zelenski da želi pregovarati, bilo bi nevjerojatno za čut. Međutim, događa se. Jednako tako se i promjene događaju u Sjedinjenim državama, koji val će sigurno doći u Europu. Kada će Hrvatska doći na red, ne znam. Naime, mi smo u svemu kasnili smo u razvoju, kasnili smo sa krizama, pa siguran da ćemo kasniti i sa promjenama. Međutim, bit će neizbježne. Svijet se mijenja, ne možemo mi kao dio svijeta to izbjeći. U kojem će se smjeru svijet promijeniti, to je na vama da odlučite. Hoćete li dalje biti zadovoljni s onim što imamo, ili ste ipak odlučili da možda vam nije dovoljno dobro i da vam može biti bolje vama i vašoj djeci i vašim unucima. Jer sve što danas imamo, to je rezultat onoga što smo radili u prethodnom razdoblju. Stoga budućnost se odvija danas. Što danas odlučite napraviti i sutra, znajte, to će biti budućnost vaše djece, vaših unuka. Stoga na vama je, što je dobra vijest, a loša vijest je da nitko drugi umjesto vas to neće napraviti. Hvala vam lijepo na pažnji i uskoro se vidimo u sljedećoj epizodi Slobodni.
Nitko vas neće natjerati da se poklonite zvijeri, učinit ćete to svojevoljno, odbacujući vjeru. Bićete laka meta za zvijeri, jer se niste podredili vjeri. Ako se ne podredite vjeri, podredit ćete se zvijeri. Toliko ćete se suobličiti sa ovim svijetom, da nećete ni prepoznati da ste u zabludi. Biće to najveća demonska prevara ikada i pravedno zaslužena osuda nad nepokajanim grešnicima.
Gdje su svi oni koji su